So now that you're back, and first off, once again, welcome home. Seriously, welcome home to all the military, all the first responders that come home. We say yes, thank you for your service, but really what you want to hear is welcome home, and I honor you for that. Now that you're home, I want to give that to you where you can say, hey, what is it that I truly want? Because you deserve it more. I shouldn't say more than everybody, yes, to a lot of extent, but we all deserve that. And that's what I really want to bring to the table for you.
It's interesting that you say that because um, I lost a cousin during the Tet Offensive in Vietnam, and I always wore I was in during Vietnam. I didn't have to go. By the time I got out of my blow 'em up school, they were pulling the Marines out of Vietnam. But I wore a pin uh, for Vietnam, and literally 30 years later, I was getting out of plane, going to Chicago. Why I remember this, it's kind of strange. The pilot coming off saw the pin and said, "Welcome home." And I had this conversation with him that it had been 30 years. Sometimes people don't know how to interact with people and communicate is, the word we all use. Tied into what you're doing with your survival skills, how do you communicate the importance of learning these skills?
Let's see how I can put this. They're important because we're of nature. That's the easiest way I can put it. If you think about it, most people freak out because society's collapsing or, things are ending. No, the zoo's falling apart. And it's your nature to be out in nature. It's also your nature to know what's being affected or how it's affecting your body. And like you said, those words mean so much. I've had the honor and privilege to teach some of the highest echelons of the military and made so many good friends with them. And when you first start off, especially being civilian, at the time being super overweight, I was almost 400 pounds, and that's a story with that too, because I was honestly trying to eat myself to death. But we'll go into that a little later. Uh, I got to meet these guys, and they became such good friends. And I remember talking to them, and I was like, "What do you really want from us? What do you need? What is it? Being a survival instructor, what is it you need?" And he said, "Just being there, just sitting there, not even having to talk, but just have a beer with us, sit there in quiet, and just be there." And we just want to know that we're home again. And that's another friend of mine spoke to me about that too. And he was like, that's what they want to hear, man. They've done so much, they've sacrificed so much. Just let them know that they're home with brothers again. That's all they want. So when it comes to survival and what I offer, it's if you're having such pain in your life, then let me be there. And that's where I come in because we have to have camaraderie when it comes to a survival situation. The lone wolf thing that I do right now is because you have to follow your own path. That's what that means. But you have to have that camaraderie with brothers and sisters who either been through it in military or first responder, but also have been in it in trauma in their lives and family. And survival means that you have to give people a reason to live. That's where that correlation comes together.
Yeah, and with what you're talking and being there and being visible, I totally understand. A lot of the people here we see on a fairly regular basis. Um, how would you? I know that you're starting your business, um, and you're trying to figure out what the path is, which way do you turn? What what are you seeing tied into your history of being EMT and then also surrounding yourself with all these other people that have had a service career? What is it that you are finding the path to be for you?
Hmm. Let's see how to correlate this. I kind of give a little bit of history to make this make sense. I lived a life where I just felt like I wasn't enough. And you got to forgive me if I get emotional about this because I don't talk about this to anybody. And there's reasons
You're
we don't,
month's
you know what I
friend.
mean? So, but I appreciate that.
And the 5 million people that are going to see this.
That's okay. If the 5 million people can understand what I've been through and why I do what I do, then God bless them. Let's do it. I had throughout my life just not feeling like I was good enough. And there was a lot of, things that happened with that. I ended up putting a gun to my head. And the only reason I'm here is because on the Taurus 24/7, there's a secondary safety on it, and it uses a key. In that moment of me trying to find the key, I met my ex-wife, and she checked on me. She was like, "Hey, I wanted to make sure you're okay." I called her. Everything worked out. I put the gun away and ended up marrying her. Well, as life went on, I was getting better and better and happier, and still something which just wasn't there. Of course, our marriage started falling apart, and the moment she said that if you can't believe in you, why should I believe in you? Or how can I believe in you? Something on that line. And all those emotions flooded back. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to do something crazy like that again. What I'm going to do is, like I said, eat myself to death so people can just think, the way God them. So we have people like that all the time out there with these mentalities, and we don't speak on it. And that's the reason I'm coming clean with it and being vulnerable about it is because we don't speak on it because we don't have a space for it. And it's not a safe space for a certain gender to me because we're all the same around the campfire. We're human and we have to have a safe space for each other. So where that correlates is we have so many people going through negative emotions, military, first responders, and just life in general.